Hello everyone, and welcome to another Chess Lifestyle stream. This is going to be the first one we've done in, I think, over a week, maybe. This is going to be quite interesting because I've got a bunch of games to go over, and we're just going to try and learn from them. In addition, I actually have a chess league match in 40 minutes. This should be showing actually. Let me show that. Yeah, so it's unfortunately not going to be the full 39 minutes, and we're actually getting very close to the 40 minutes. But yeah, I basically just got back yesterday, and I've got a lot of things that I need to get done. So unfortunately, today's stream isn't going to be as perfect and precise as the 39 minutes. But okay, we're almost at 40. This is some nice growth. If you haven't checked out my YouTube video on my Oslo experience, I think it would be worth checking out. I think it was a lot of fun, and I think you'd be interested to see what the best pub in Europe looks like. Just letting you guys know that I uploaded that today. In 40 minutes I have a league match, and that league match is in 4CL online. So as you can see, we are in Division 2 out of 5 divisions, and it's been quite a grueling process of getting promoted each season, but we're smashing Division 2 right now. We're in first place, so I think given all goes well for the remaining fixtures, we should get promoted to Division 1, which is actually quite competitive. Like, you've got some 2200 teams, 2100 teams. So I think it will be more interesting when we get there. For today's game, I'll be playing, and I am going to be on board 2 against a player called Tim Lane. So maybe the stream will even do a bit of preparation for this guy, and you can get some insight into what that looks like. Let me just, okay, everything should be working. So let's get to it. So I was thinking maybe we could go through some analysis. Maybe this, I'm actually quite curious and haven't really had the time to look into this. So I think maybe we can do this. So you'll have seen, if you saw my community post on YouTube, that I was not going to be doing streaming for a week. You'll see that the reason why I wasn't was firstly because of Oslo, but secondly because I was in Liverpool working on my chessable course. And in Liverpool, I ended up playing 2 matches, one for Liverpool 3 and one for Liverpool 2. So for the Liverpool 2 team, we needed to save the team from relegation, and this was the game from that match. So this was I'll hide next move, so it's less obvious, like the moves aren't screaming at you. Basically, I managed to draw this game, and as a result, the team managed to win. I think it was a very close match, like 4-3. And by winning the match, that meant that our relegation battle was over. Like we saved the match. So I wanted to take a quick look at this game, and I also wanted to then take a look at this model game between Goryachina against Shuvalova, because it's going to be quite relevant to the resulting position. So in this very important match, I played 1c3, which is what I've been working on. My opponent played d5, which meant we got a London system. And he played like this early bishop d6, and I've been looking at this bishop g3. I mean, the reason why I don't take on d6 is not so much queen takes, but more so c takes. And I'm always uncomfortable with this structure, because actually black takes control over the c5 square, so I'm never ever getting any knight moves into this square. And it just feels a bit uncomfortable. Like, black gets this open file to make use of, gets this minority attack pawn structure, and maybe even supports e5. So I've never really dealt with this too well. So I think it's best to just avoid, and that's why I just dropped back to g3. And then I started with knight d2, not sure it matters too much. I just wanted to make sure there was no knight e4. And we just develop our pieces, and this is all fairly standard. Now in this position, bishop d3 is the theoretical main line, and the reason why I played bishop e2 is because I'm not so fussed about getting an opening advantage. I just want to be very solid and not have any weaknesses. And the issue with this bishop d3 line, I think there's a very sharp line that goes rook e8. White should play knight e5 now to prevent black from playing e5. And then after takes, here attacking at e5, they play f4, and then there's this very sharp business with queen b6. And the point is that, okay, b2 is hanging, and then this comes with tempo, and you get this crazy line where basically I think black can snag this pawn at some point, but yeah, like something like this. God, like this is just horrible, right? Like I don't want to have to play some theory where I'm allowing such moves, Like this is just too much to remember, right? Like what if my opponent deviates on a move here and I haven't looked at it? Like then you really have to rely on your calculation and skills to navigate the position, which I feel like is not so practical if the opponent is well prepared. So the point is, I just played bishop e2, and then all of these kind of sharp lines are just no longer working as well. Like we can play knight e5, and yeah, if we get like similar lines, let's say something like this, and they play queen b6, well, this is a different story. We can play queen c2, and since the bishop's not on d3, they can't push c4 with tempo. So now this isn't really a problem. We can just play bishop f2, defend the pawn, castle kingside, push e4, and we're doing great. So it's just a little bit of a quieter move. My opponent played b6, which is a decent way to face for London. And now, since black was threatening to maybe push e5 immediately, I decided just to take first. I also was thinking maybe I don't want to maybe weaken my pawn structure slightly. Like this pawn structure is not so much a weakness, but it's not so much a strength. So I think this just feels a bit nicer. And my opponent played bishop e7. I should also mention that my opponent's a national master. His ECF rating is 2250. I think formerly 2300, so a very strong player. And the thing is, this match, we were stronger on bottom boards. So we were weaker on top boards. I was playing board 1, right, as a 2000 against this 2200. So I wasn't so concerned if the position would become a draw. But even if I was playing for the win, I'd probably play in a similar fashion and wait till later to strike for a win. So, okay, let me check if chat is working and everything. I think it is. I think things are just quite quiet for now. But yeah, anyway, let's keep going. So, yeah, I played rook c1 here, just staying flexible, not committing so much as to what plan. Like, you know, if black were to play e5 now, then yeah, like the point is that this can all open up, and my rook is well placed to play an eventual c4. So c4 is one idea that may be strong. This b4 idea as well was quite interesting, where it looks like, you know, such a position, you know, if let's say they just play in the center, right? It looks like this is just weakening our pawn structure, but the point is that we're going to follow up with c4 very fast. So yeah, the engine is suggesting maybe some preparation over the d4 square first, and then soon play for the c4 break, or even queen c2, c4. So this is one idea with this b4 move, which my opponent was a little bit afraid of here when we spoke after the game. And to be honest, in the game I didn't see it, but afterwards I kind of yeah, looked into this a bit more and realized, okay, actually this is the point. And of course, then if they take, well then, unless black is able to play d4 immediately, which it appears like they can, then if we can blockade this pawn, then this will be a weakness. We can put pressure on it, and we'd have a good position. So yeah, in this position, I just played rook c1 because I felt like it gave me some flexibility. My opponent played rook fd8. Again, I was just sitting and waiting to see how black would continue. In general, you should never leave your queen on the line of an opponent's rook or bishop, so I just dropped my queen back to b1. And yeah, I just completed my development. And we're both doing a little bit of shuffling, just waiting to see if either side strikes. And I did think that, you know, if my opponent doesn't do anything, I might go for this like b3 c4 plan, and then maybe try and take in the center, and yeah, just open up the game a little bit and just see what happens. Really, this was kind of my thought process, but yeah, in this position, I played the move knight to b3 because I kind of wanted to provoke my opponent to play c4. And I just thought that this would be an interesting game where maybe I would get like more chances on the queen side. Like, I don't know, like if the opponent like makes, let's say, a slow move and I play like a4, I thought that maybe I can actually transfer my pieces to the queen side easier than they can. So I've analyzed some of these positions before. And let's imagine that, yeah, let's start transferring these pieces over. And okay, obviously black would probably try and do so as well. But I think once we get these pieces over, then we can start opening up this side of the board. And then we can start to play on this side. And I think this bishop is going to be a problem because it doesn't really have a way out and it kind of gets in the way. So this was kind of my thinking behind this knight b3. I wanted to provoke this move. And I was also just waiting for him to push e5 as well, which he actually did, because then I can get this like kind of reverse Caro-Kann classical variation structure, where basically black has this d pawn on an open file, which I can try and undermine. So I was kind of hoping that my opponent might go into this. But I actually overlooked when I played knight b3 that my opponent could play knight e4. And I was a little bit worried about this because, you know, if I just play a slow move here, I'm not too sure, then maybe black could play f5. And I wasn't so comfortable with the fact that maybe we'd get this stonewall structure and black may be able to transfer his pieces to the king side, where it might not be so easy for me to defend. So this is interesting, although the engine just says not to worry, just play c4 and all be good. So I guess the knight is supporting the d4 square a bit more. If black were to still try and go for this f5 plan, then it feels like a little bit more weakening. For instance, I could take, right? And now this pawn feels like it probably would be preferred to still be on f7. And we can give white these hanging pawns. And okay, we can try and maybe put pressure on these pawns, try and make sure that black isn't successfully playing d4. Yeah, I'd have to think about this position and think like how to try and improve it. But yeah, this he went e5, and it's quite interesting because at this moment we traded a bunch of pieces. I put my bishop on what I thought was a better diagonal, and yeah, I put the knight back on d2 to make sure that I'm covering the e4 square. And at this moment, I played c4. And my opponent started to think, and he was like lower on the clock than me by like maybe 15, 20 minutes. And around maybe a few minutes into his thinking, he like let out some kind of groan as he was trying to like work out what to do. But I actually wasn't sure, you know, that I had such an advantage or something. So I just offered my opponent a draw, and within a few seconds, he just accepted it. So this game ended a draw here, and yeah, this draw helped secure the match. So in fact, it was like a job well done. But as you can see, objectively speaking, this engine does not like this position. I mean, there are many pitfalls, right? So for instance, d4 is not working. I had seen this idea where basically I can take on b7, and if they were to take back, I can play knight f3, and yeah, I feel like I'm winning this pawn back. So this was one line, and also I was looking at here when I take on b7, I think they can try take on e3, but then I can play knight f3. So I had like some tricks in the position, so he couldn't play d4. And I think there were some other lines. I don't know. I think he was looking at Queen E6 as one move, but then he was just like, I can just play Queen C2, and there's not really much going on. Like, this is just pretty level. So because that, Black felt that maybe there was like ways to go wrong, and also as long as I don't go crazy, I'm not gonna lose this. We agreed to draw. Welcome NK No Man. I believe is this Safsara that I'm speaking to? If so, welcome to the stream. And yeah, how is the Racing Kings grind going? But yeah, as you can see, the engine actually doesn't like White's position. And the reason why is actually something more subtle, which is the fact that, let's say Black just makes an improvement move, right? That was the point of G6. Then I was always planning to take on D5 and play out this structure, and I actually had no idea during the game whether this kind of structure, this endgame, was a better endgame for me or a better endgame for Black. So I found out afterwards from Dylan that actually it's kind of this common practice, which I do know as well, that a 3v2 where your kings aren't is generally a preferred option than the 4v3. And it makes sense because Black can make use of his 3v2 to advance and maybe try and get a very advanced pass pawn to try and win, right? And yeah, obviously I know this as well. And the thing is, what I didn't quite understand was that I wasn't sure if I had potential for a minority attack. So would I be able to maybe isolate one of these pawns like further back and actually try and win one of these pawns? And then I would have this 4v3, which probably would be a draw, but I can grind it out for 100 moves and we'll see. So I wasn't too sure, but after the game, my opponent Roger Williamson was very, very kind to recommend me to check out this game. And this is why I don't understand why he agreed to draw, to be honest, because if he understood that this is actually a better endgame, and apparently like it's a common endgame in a lot of Catalan positions, then yeah, this like he knew this was slightly better for him. I don't know why he didn't just try and grind the win, especially given he was a stronger rated opponent, right? But he kind of said that, yeah, even though it is slightly better, it's still just a draw, like with correct play. So yeah, he reckoned that this position was just a draw, despite what the engine says. And he actually recommended that in this kind of position, I don't play for a3, b4 and just keep my pawns here. And if Black tries to push their pawns forward, maybe then some of these pawns will become weak and potentially be lost. Whereas if I just stay solid here, I should be all right. So I didn't really understand this nuance. So I'm glad I didn't get grounded down in a 100-move game and lost the game and then messed up the team's chances of promotion. I mean, surviving relegation. But yeah, basically, I wanted to take a look at this model game because I wanted to analyze this position. And to be honest, I really need to look into the structure a bit further, see if I can find something else that I feel a bit more comfortable with. Because if I'm reaching this position, then I don't really necessarily want to get to this this end game that's actually slightly worse for me. I mean, one idea is maybe I should be playing for this b4 move instead. And this is very interesting because if Black ever pushes c4 here, despite engine saying that it's slightly better for Black, I think this backwards d pawn is definitely just going to be a real pain for Black for the rest of the game. And if Black does not deal with this and just plays a move like King G7, now this capture and C4 I think is is stronger, right? I think this B4 move is a better way to play because yeah, now we get the C4 break and this is going to be a different story because now this is no longer a 3v2 but a 2v1 where the pawns are isolated. And therefore, this is actually not going to be some kind of healthy majority that pushes, but more like, a weakness on c5. So I think actually this classical variation structure that I got, it's not so bad as long as I'm playing for b4, then c4, as opposed to just c4 immediately. So I think this is one of the take-home messages here. But let's say I do get this kind of structure again. Let's say somehow my b4 plan is stopped and I need to go for this c4. I really want to take a look at this game. So let's have a look at this game. Goryachkina against Shuvalova, and we have a Catalan. So we're going to take a look at the same pawn structure just with colors reversed. And you can see here that we actually have the same kind of structure where maybe the pawns are a bit different, but again, we've got this open d file against the d pawn. So let's look at it from this side. And again, c5 is being played. So this, for instance, is a position where we can't go b5. And wow, again. So if they just make some slow move, then this is going to be fine for us. So why again is the c5 move really, really strong? Does anyone in chat understand why like this move is just such a strong move? Because it was strong in this position as well, right? This c4. Like this was Engine's recommendation, right? To play c4, but to me as a human it looks wrong. So what are we not understanding? Like maybe like black takes control over this square, but is it just like a long-winded plan of getting the knight in? But you know, we can always have the bishop chop the knight. I don't think it's such a big deal. Maybe they want to just play knight e4 and put pressure on c3. Maybe this could be a problem as well. Yep, it's Sapsara, top 5, 70 away from number 1. 70 points. Okay, damn, top 5 racing kings in the world. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, the grind is real. The grind is real. So maybe this is the problem. Like, let's just make a slow move and see what Engine's plan is. So Engine's plan is actually to play some random stuff. So just improve the position. Oh, they actually want to go for a kingside attack with g5. That's very unhinged. Okay, and then I'm also curious, does white actually have an active plan if black starts playing rubbish moves? Like, here, Engine is saying a4. Let's say black does nothing. Okay, it does look like white is turning around the position, so let's see how white does that. So okay, queen c2. Looking at this maneuver, I guess maybe it also has potential to come this way as well. So let's keep making nothing moves. Knight g3, knight e2. Okay, so we are heading to d4. Rook a1 as well to play on the queen side. We improve some more. Play a5. Right. Okay, then in that case, let's just say for one move, black plays a6. And queen d4. So making use of the square. To be honest, I think from a human perspective, I actually think this is easier to play for white than for black. I mean, I think this play with a4, a5, trying to reroute a knight to control d4, putting the queen on d4, this all looks very, very natural. And it's also like stuff to consider that like maybe before pushing b4, right? We can already start preparing this, like in this kind of position. Like if we know that we're going to be playing b4 and c4 is the correct move, maybe we can already start considering like, okay, do we want to reroute the knight to e2 first and then push b4, right? So I think like understanding how the play continues is very important. But okay, we won't analyze b5 here because we're not getting this exact position. Yeah, so we trade everything. We get to this endgame, and we see this 3 versus 2. Now, to be honest, for me, when I was thinking about playing this 3 versus 2, I was thinking it's better to play it when we have more pieces on the board, because I feel like, yeah, if you get down to like a single isolated pawn, this pawn is actually going to be a strength the fewer the pieces there are on the board. So like a pass pawn gains in strength the fewer pieces on the board. So to be honest, this kind of play is a little bit different to what I had in mind, because yeah, would we not want to just keep the pieces on? But interestingly then, I guess white's control of the open file is just too strong. And white can keep using the fact that black can't trade to then just improve their pieces more. Yeah. It's interesting. But yeah, let's take a look at how this endgame goes with this majority. Okay. So I guess this makes sense. Like black is basically aiming their pieces to try and prevent the c5 break, which is going to be white's main idea. And I like this e5 move earlier to try and take some space in the center, ensure that maybe our king is like taking control over c5. But okay, we played g6. And I would have thought the move h4, h5 would be like an interesting plan. But instead, she takes immediately and breaks with f4. Wow, so getting a pass pawn isn't any good, I guess, because then we give the square and this pawn is in trouble. So king e6, a4, and a5 here. So I guess the idea is if they take and take everything, maybe knight c5 is the point, and we want to win this pawn back. So this is actually what happens. Oh, but they take here first. Oh, knight b6, okay. Ah, and that's clever, so that the knight can now move with a check and then push the pawn. Right. Oh. Yeah, why wouldn't you play king d6? What? This makes no sense. Because, I mean, the whole point is that now white can push the pawn and save the pawn, so surely you go king d6 to hit the knight again. I guess maybe white was afraid that black would win this pawn. But, oh, and in this position it's somehow a draw. So we take, they take, and we're able to just get back in time with our pieces. Interesting. But now then this pawn is too strong. Yeah, this feels kind of difficult now because now white's got two pass pawns on either side, and now this is going to be very difficult to hold. Whereas in this position, even though black's pieces are very far away, all the action is on one side of the board, so we can just bring all of our pieces to the side with good chance of the draw. But in this position, yeah, we need our pieces to defend both sides, and therefore it's like with a knight, it's going to be close to impossible. And I guess Polina must have miscalculated something. I guess we do end up in this position where everything is on one side, but how does this final position compare to this? Wow, I don't know. Looks really similar to me. I mean, I guess this king is like a couple files away, and that makes all the difference. I guess it would, right? Like this king being a bit closer. But yeah, that's really brutal. That this is actually just a win. Wow, and it's, yeah, you can see it's like winning by one move. So literally those extra tempi makes all the difference. And yeah, this is some crazy knight endgame. Yeah, interesting. So as we can see, this majority is working out. Probably I should consider this b4 move as a way to play this type of setup. But yeah, I managed to get a draw for the team, which was nice. And yeah, that saved the team from relegation. And yeah, this was my game against 2200 against in Division 3. I managed to beat a 2000 opponent with the black pieces. So this was quite a nice result for me too, which maybe we can take a look at on stream sometime. But yeah, I am going to go prepare for my 4NCL opponent. I think I'll do that off stream just in case anyone's watching. But what I would recommend, what I can quickly just say here, is that I will be going on opening tree. I will be looking up his username, putting it in to opening tree, having just a brief idea of what kind of player he is, what kind of style he is, and make sure that I'm playing something that is targeted against his style. So this will hopefully be the plan. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get on and do that. And the final thing I just want to say is that, guys, I am this close to becoming monetized on YouTube. So if any of you have a very chill evening and you know, don't have much planned, Every minute of watching any previous videos of mine would be much appreciated. If we can get to this 4,000 target, we can finally get monetized on YouTube, which is something I've been aiming for I don't know how many years. So yeah, let's make this grind. Let's do it. And yeah, I think that's all from me today. So we're gonna be restarting our daily streams. Probably a lot of game analysis in the coming weeks. And yeah, this is the plan. So thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, cheers, bye.